Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to take compelling sources, really unpack them, and give you the essential insights so you feel, well, instantly informed.
And today, we got a pretty big one. We're tackling the phenomenon known really just as the secret.
Right. And the core concept, which our sources constantly circle back to, is this thing called the law of attraction.
Exactly. And what's fascinating is how it's presented, not as some new idea, but as an ancient fundamental truth, a kind of great secret that's supposedly been known in bits and pieces throughout history, in different philosophies, religions, spiritual paths.
Yeah, and the list they give of people who supposedly knew this secret is, well, it's pretty staggering. We're talking Plato, Shakespeare, Isaac Newton.
Victor Hugo, Beethoven, Lincoln, Emerson, Edison, even Einstein is on that list.
It makes you stop and think, doesn't it? It's presented less like a fringe idea and more like some kind of hidden operating manual for the universe, known only to, well, the greats.
So our goal here isn't just to skim the surface. We really want to dig into the claim that the heart of it is the law of attraction. We need to break down the mechanics they propose, how thoughts and feelings supposedly tie into it, and importantly, that specific three-step process they claim harnesses it.
For what? Well, for manifesting things like money, health, happiness.
The big stuff.
So let's be really clear from the start. According to these sources, the secret is the law of attraction. Full stop. It's framed as the one single infinite power, the law governing everything in the universe.
Which leads us straight to that really provocative core idea. Everything coming into your life right now, good or bad, is being attracted to you because of the images and thoughts you consistently hold in your mind. You're like a magnet, drawing your reality in.
It's a huge claim to start with.
Okay, so if this is a universal law, the sources are really clear. It has to be absolute. It works all the time, no exceptions. Exactly, but they put it right up there with physics. Bob Proctor often uses the example of space travel, how we can calculate landings on the moon down to the second because the laws of the universe are so precise.
Right.
The argument is the law of attraction is just as precise. It dictates the entire order of things.
So it's impartial. That seems critical. Like gravity doesn't care if you're a good person or not. Step off a building and the result is predictable.
Right. The law of attraction in this view is exactly the same. It doesn't judge you. It just responds to the signal, the dominant thought or frequency you're sending out.
And they trace this idea way back, don't they? It's not just a modern self-help thing. They point to ancient civilizations.
Yes, specifically the Babylonians. They're often mentioned as a group that really understood and applied these principles, leading to, their legendary wealth and achievements.
But what specifically did the Babylonians supposedly apply? I mean, they didn't have the secret DVDs, right?
Well, the argument is they grasped the foundation.
Yeah.
That abundance starts internally. There are incredible engineering feats, like the Hanging Gardens. The sources suggest this wasn't just about manpower. It stemmed from a core belief that the world was orderly, understandable, and, crucially, could be shaped by intention.
Okay.
Which, according to this framework, aligns perfectly with the law of attraction. Their prosperity was, therefore, a direct result of thinking thoughts of abundance and focusing that into creation.
That definitely puts an interesting historical spin on it. Let's jump forward, though, to today and specifically money, because that's where this gets applied a lot. Bob Proctor uses that statistic. What is it? 1% of people earn something like a 96% of the money.
Yeah, that statistic itself is debated, obviously, in economics.
Yeah.
But the sources use it to illustrate a point, not necessarily economic policy. They suggest that this small percentage, whether they know it consciously or just intuitively, understands the secret.
And that's why they succeed.
That's the claim. They hold dominant thoughts of wealth, of abundance, and crucially, they don't let contradictory thoughts, fear of loss, scarcity thinking, take root and mess up the signal.
It makes me think of that classic story, the person who wins the lottery or inherits a fortune, then loses it all only to somehow build it back up again later.
Exactly. And the explanation given is purely vibrational, purely thought-based. When they first got the money, maybe they felt abundant, deserving. But then the fear crept in, what if I lose it?
Okay.
That fear of loss becomes the dominant thought. And the law, being impartial, has to attract the experience that matches that fear loss. They only regain it, the story goes, when that fear subsides and their dominant thought shifts back to confidence, to wealth.
It really emphasizes that the physical circumstances are secondary to your internal magnetic state, I guess.
Which brings us back to the core principle. Like attracts like. You are essentially a walking, talking magnet. Powerful one.
And your thoughts are the things sending out the signal.
Right. When you think a thought, the law of attraction supposedly kicks in instantly, bringing you more similar thoughts. Bob Doyle uses that example of, like, thinking about something annoying.
Yeah.
The more you dwell on it, the worse it seems to get, right? Because the universe, or maybe just your own mind, keeps feeding you more evidence, more thoughts that match that initial negative focus.
It's like getting a song stuck in your head. The sources say that's the law of attraction too. You focus on the song and it just keeps delivering more thoughts of the song.
Exactly. Sustained focus. So the main job, according to this, isn't really about hard work or struggle in the traditional sense.
It's about holding the thought.
Holding the thought of what you want, making it clear, persistent, and then letting the law handle the delivery. Like Mike Dooley puts it really simply, thoughts become things.
Okay, so if thoughts become things, we need to understand how. What's the connection between a thought, which seems sort of non-physical, and actual reality?
The bridge, according to the sources, is frequency.
Frequency, like radio waves.
Sort of, yeah. John Assaraf and Dr. Joe Fatale explain it like this. Every single thought you have is energy, and it vibrates at a specific measurable frequency. When you think, you're sending out this magnetic signal.
Okay.
It has to draw back things and experiences that are vibrating on that same parallel frequency.
Which connects back to that quote from Charles Hannell way back in 1912.
Right. The predominant thought or the mental attitude is the magnet, and the law is that like attracts like. It frames your mind as the control center for this magnetic force.
That analogy they use of a human being as a transmission tower, that really helps clarify it for me.
It's a powerful one, isn't it? You choose the channel, the frequency with your thoughts. And the pictures you get back aren't on a TV screen.
They're the pictures of your life.
Exactly. The circumstances, the events, the people. So if you don't like what you're seeing in your life,
Change the channel. Change your thoughts. Simple, but profound if true. Now, they also bring in quantum physics here, suggesting the whole universe emerged from thought. That's a huge leap. How does that fit?
it is a huge leap. And it's important to understand how they're using quantum physics.
Yeah.
It's often more metaphorical or, let's say, spiritually interpreted. They take core quantum ideas like everything being energy or observation affecting reality and kind of extrapolate that to mean human consciousness is the ultimate creative source.
So it's not necessarily what a mainstream physicist would say, but within the system of the law of attraction.
Right. Within this system, consciousness is primary. The physical world follows the thought world. That's the operating principle here.
Okay, so if that's the case, and Bob Proctor says if you just see yourself living in abundance, it has to come, why aren't more people living their dream lives? What's the block?
The sources point to what they call the don't want epidemic. People are constantly, habitually focusing on what they don't want, the negative stuff.
And they're tuning into the wrong frequency without realizing it.
Precisely. Lisa Nichols really hammers this home. The law is perfectly obedient. The second you give sustained attention to something, you're essentially calling it forth. Whether you want it or desperately fear it doesn't matter to the law.
Because the law is impartial. And crucially, they say it doesn't process negatives, like the words don't or not.
That's a key mechanical point they make. The universe, or the law, only registers the subject of your thought.
So if I'm constantly thinking, I don't want to be late.
The law hears late, be late, delays. It picks up on the essence, the image of being late.
Or I don't want to get sick. The focus is on sick.
Exactly. You're radiating the frequency, the thing you're trying to avoid. Michael Bernard Beckwith and Dr. Vitale are very direct about this.
Yeah.
Everything currently around you, your job, your debt, your relationships, even the stuff you complain about all the time you attracted it
Oh.
with your past dominant thoughts.
Yeah.
The law is always working, like gravity. You can't switch it off.
This leads us to probably the most difficult part of this whole concept, explaining large-scale tragedies or disasters. How do the sources handle that?
Yeah, this is where it gets really challenging, ethically and emotionally. The explanation hinges entirely on this idea of frequency matching, and it can sound harsh.
So they're saying people involved in a tragedy weren't necessarily thinking about that specific event?
Not necessarily the specifics, no. But the claim is that collectively they were on the same general frequency. A frequency dominated by things like fear, a sense of separation, feeling powerless.
And that shared negative frequency somehow attracted a corresponding negative event.
That's the assertion. It's presented as an impersonal matching of vibration, The law isn't punishing anyone. It's just reflecting back the dominant collective energy.
That's a lot to take in. It seems to remove external factors entirely. Is there any room for nuance there, or is it purely down to thought frequency?
Within the framework presented in these sources, the emphasis is overwhelmingly on thought frequency as the sole cause. The nuance, if you can call it that, lies in the law's impersonality. Nothing can come into your experience unless you summon it, consciously or unconsciously, through your thought patterns. Fear, in particular, is identified as the most destructive frequency because it's the polar opposite of love and gratitude, which they see as creative.
Well, given how often negative thoughts can just pop into our heads, it's probably a good thing there's that time delay Lisa Nichols talks about.
Absolutely. If our thoughts manifested instantly, wow, we'd be in constant chaos based on fleeting fears or frustrations.
So the delay is like a buffer.
Exactly. A cosmic safeguard. Gives you time to notice where your thoughts are heading, to reassess, and crucially, to consciously choose better thoughts, to effectively erase the negative ones before they fully materialize. It's a chance to change the signal.
Okay, tracking every single thought, what'd you say, maybe 60,000 a day? That sounds impossible. How can you possibly manage your frequency effectively?
Right. You can't monitor every thought. So, Marcy Shemoff points to the shortcut. Your feelings, your emotions.
They're like a feedback system.
The ultimate feedback system. Feelings are the quickest, most direct way to know what frequency you're on right now, even if you're not consciously aware of the specific thoughts causing the feeling.
So feelings are the effect, thoughts are the cause. Your emotions are like a little dashboard, light, red, or green.
Pretty much. You can basically group them into two camps.
Yeah.
Bad feelings, anger, frustration, guilt, depression, resentment. That's a warning signal. Meaning you're currently thinking thoughts that are out of alignment with what you want. You're vibrating at a frequency that attracts more negativity. By dwelling in that bad feeling, you're basically telling the universe, more of this, please. Bring me stuff that makes me feel bad.
And the flip side, good feelings, joy, excitement, gratitude, love.
That's the green light. It means your thoughts are aligned. You're on the right frequency. You're in receiving mode for the good things you desire. Manifestation is close.
And they claim it's impossible to feel bad while having genuinely good thoughts, or vice versa.
That's the assertion. Because thoughts cause feelings directly and immediately. They're intrinsically linked. One follows the other.
Okay, that makes sense of that spiral effect people talk about, like having a bad day where one little thing goes wrong.
And then it just cascades, right? You stub your toe, spill your coffee, get stuck in traffic.
Yeah.
It happens because the initial negative feeling, your reaction, sends out a signal. The law of attraction responds by bringing more circumstances to match that feeling. If you don't consciously break the cycle, you just keep attracting more negativity.
So the goal is to shift the feeling immediately. But what about really deep stuff like grief or clinical depression?
No.
These sources talk about shifting instantly. Doesn't that risk trivializing or, I don't know, invalidating very real deep-seated pain?
That's a really important question. The source material tends to approach all negative emotional states, even profound ones like grief, primarily as frequencies that need to be shifted by choice. The focus is always on personal power over your internal state.
So the idea isn't to pretend the grief isn't there.
Not necessarily to ignore it, but to recognize it as feedback, a signal that you're focused on lack or loss, and then to actively use tools to change your frequency, even for a short time. The underlying belief is that dwelling on the negative past prevents you from creating the positive future you want. The power lies in the present moment choice.
Okay, so what are these tools, these secret shifters? How do you actually shift your feelings quickly?
They're pretty straightforward, practical things. Anything that can interrupt a negative thought pattern and lift your mood, ideally fast, like in a minute or two.
Like what?
Putting on your absolute favorite piece of music, the one that always makes you feel good. Deliberately bringing up a wonderful memory, something really joyful or funny, focusing intensely on someone you love, or even a pet.
Or just changing your physical state, getting up, moving around.
Exactly. Michael Bernard Beckwith suggests something as simple as just forcing a smile for a minute and really trying to feel the warmth it creates inside. It sounds basic, but it's about intentionally changing the input.
That feels doable. So if feelings are the key, what's the ultimate feeling, the most powerful frequency?
Love, hands down. The feeling of love, which encompasses joy, gratitude, appreciation, connection, is presented as the absolute highest frequency you can emit.
And Charles Haanel connected thought and love.
Yes, he said, it is the combination of thought and love which forms the irresistible force of the law of attraction. When your dominant state is one of love, The law supposedly responds with its greatest power.
And there's that interesting ethical angle, too. Thinking loving thoughts primarily benefits you. Holding on to resentment hurts you more than the other person.
Right, because you're the one emitting and therefore attracting back that negative frequency. It forces a kind of vibrational self-interest towards forgiveness and peace, which loops back to that big question Einstein apparently asked.
Is this a friendly universe?
And according to the law of attraction framework, if you understand this law, the answer has to be yes, because you make it friendly by aligning your own frequency with friendliness, love, and positive expectation.
Okay, let's get practical. We understand the theory, the frequency, the feelings. How do you actually use this stuff deliberately to create something specific in your life? The sources outline this three-step process, using that Aladdin's lamp metaphor.
Right, James Ray uses that a lot. You are Aladdin, you make the request, the universe is the genie.
And the genie always says,
Your wish is my command. The key is, the law of attraction doesn't question or judge. It just takes whatever you're thinking, saying, or focusing on as the command. It assumes you want it.
So step one is ask. And the crucial part here seems to be clarity.
Absolute clarity.
Yeah.
Because if your desires are vague or mixed, you send out confusing frequencies and you get confusing mixed results back. You need to make a clear command.
Bob Proctor suggests writing it down.
Yeah, write it down. And importantly, write it in the present tense, as if it's already happened. Start with something like, I am so happy and grateful now that, and then fill in the specifics.
So not, I want a better job, but I am so happy and grateful now that I'm thriving in my new role as specific title, earning specific salary, working with amazing people.
Exactly. You're giving the genie a detailed blueprint, not just a vague wish. And this is important. You only need to ask once.
Like ordering from Amazon, you don't keep placing the same order over and over.
Right. Doing that actually signals doubt, lack of faith.
All right.
You place the order the moment you got clear. Step one is done.
Okay, step two, believe. This sounds like the hardest part for most people. Maintaining that unwavering faith, as Lisa Nichols calls it.
This is definitely where the inner work happens. You have to genuinely, truly believe you have already received it. Not that it's coming, but that it's done. It exists in the unseen, even if your physical reality hasn't caught up yet.
Robert Collier's advice fits here. See the things that you want as already yours.
As already in your possession. You need to act, speak, and think from the place of already having it.
So if I've asked for, say, a successful book deal, believing means maybe clearing space on my shelf for the book, not constantly checking my email for rejection letters.
Precisely. Checking for rejections is focusing on the lack of the deal. Clearing the shelf is acting as if it's a done deal. That's the frequency of belief. The moment your belief becomes solid, unwavering, the sources say the universe starts rearranging itself to match.
But what trips people up is the how, right? Trying to figure out how it's going to happen.
You have to let go of the how. That's the universe's job, the genie's department. Trying to micromanage the process, figuring out all the steps.
That sends a signal of lack of faith.
Exactly. It says, I don't really trust this is going to work, so I need to control it. Bob Proctor is clear. You will attract the way. Your job is just to hold the frequency of belief. The how will unfold.
Okay, but doubt is human. What happens when you wake up, look at your bank account, and disappointment floods in? How do you handle that?
You acknowledge the feeling. Okay, I'm feeling doubt right now. Recognize it as just feedback, a sign you've temporarily slipped off the belief frequency.
And then?
You consciously shift back. You reaffirm your belief. Maybe say out loud, I know it's done. I know it's on its way. You treat the disappointment like a cloud passing, not the permanent weather.
Okay, that leads to step three. Receive. This is about feeling good now.
Yes. You need to feel now the way you expect to feel when your desire arrives. That feeling, the joy, the relief, the excitement that is the frequency of receiving. Mercy Shimoff says being happy now literally tunes you into the frequency of what you want.
Is there a quick way to get into that receiving state?
A simple technique is to just say it and feel it. I am receiving now. I am receiving my perfect health now. I'm receiving abundance now. Say it and then generate the feeling. Feel the excitement, the gratitude, as if it's happening right this second.
Now, what about action? Critics often say this sounds passive, like just sitting on the couch visualizing, but the sources talk about inspired action.
Right. Action is usually part of the process.
Yeah.
But it's a specific kind of action. It's not struggle. It's not forcing things. Inspired action feels effortless, joyful, like you're being pulled rather than pushing.
Like going with the flow.
Exactly. Like
Okay.
you're in a fast-moving river, just gently steering. If the action you're taking feels hard, stressful, like you're fighting upstream, the sources say that's a sign you've slipped back into trying to make it happen yourself, instead of allowing the universe to deliver.
And Dr. Jovitel mentioned the universe likes speed, acting on intuition.
Yeah, when you get that little nudge, that sudden idea, call this person, go to this place, look up this thing, act on it. Don't second guess it. That's often the universe delivering the next step, the how.
To really build faith in all this, they recommend starting small, don't they?
Definitely. Prove it to yourself first. Like David Shermer visualizing parking spots and getting them almost every time. Or manifesting a cup of coffee, finding a specific feather.
Right, that feather story. The author visualizes a specific unique feather and then finds it days later on a sidewalk in Manhattan.
Those little undeniable synchronicities build that core belief, that knowing. So when you go for the big things, the dream house, the soulmate, you have a foundation of trust in the process.
So we have the 3 steps. Ask, believe, receive. If that's the engine, the sources say gratitude is like the premium fuel.
Or the turbocharger, yeah. Dr. Jovitel emphasizes gratitude as maybe the first thing you should do to shift your energy. It immediately brings your whole mind, your whole being, into harmony with that creative, positive, universal energy.
Why is it so powerful?
Because it's fundamentally impossible to feel genuinely grateful and at the same time feel lack or fear or resentment. Gratitude cancels out the negative frequencies. Wallace Wattles, who wrote back in the early 1900s, argued that a lack of gratitude is actually what keeps many people stuck in poverty.
Because ingratitude, complaining, feeling jealous, dissatisfied sends out negative signals.
Precisely. It blocks the flow of good things coming to you.
Yeah.
Which brings us to that intriguing interpretation of the passage from the Gospel of Matthew.
The one that says, whoever has will be given more. Whoever does not have, even what he has will be taken away. They call it the magic riddle.
And the solution, the missing word they reveal, is gratitude.
So, whoever has gratitude will be given more and have an abundance.
Whoever does not have gratitude, even what they have will be taken from them. It reframes it not as a religious judgment, but as a universal mechanism. It works based on your internal state of thankfulness.
And they even connect this to physics, Newton's third law.
Yeah, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The act of giving thanks, the action, automatically causes the opposite reaction of receiving.
And the amount you receive matches the amount of gratitude you give out.
The feeling, the energy behind the gratitude, yes. It's like the ignition. True, heartfelt gratitude starts the receiving process.
Okay, so how do we make this practical? Not just a fleeting thought, but a real habit.
James Ray suggests a really simple morning routine. The second your feet hit the floor when you wake up, just say thank you. And then maybe while you're getting ready, consciously run through things you're genuinely grateful for, big or small, and really feel that appreciation.
And there's that story about the gratitude rock.
Lee Brower's idea, yeah. Carry a small, smooth stone in your pocket. Every time you touch it, make it a trigger to stop and think of something you're grateful for right then. It's about conditioning the mind.
He even told a story about it helping manifest something incredible in South Africa just by keeping that focus on gratitude.
And then there's preemptive gratitude, being thankful for what you want before it arrives.
How does that work?
When you do step 1, ask, and you write, I am so happy and grateful now that I have this amazing relationship, you're sending out the frequency of already having received it. You're turbocharging the signal by adding the powerful emotion of gratitude to the belief.
Okay, so gratitude is huge.
Yeah.
What about expectation?
Expectation is critical. James Ray says you have to stop identifying with your current reality if it's not what you want. That lack of money, the health issue, that's just the leftover result of past thinking.
It's not who you are now.
Right. You have to expect the good things you've asked for to show up. Like you expect the sun to rise. It's a powerful, attractive force in itself.
Especially with money. If you want wealth, you can't keep focusing on bills and lack.
No, you have to shift focus to abundance. And they suggest making it fun, like a game. David Shermer literally played with his bank statements using whiteout, writing in bigger numbers, visualizing checks.
And the author mentioned pretending bills were actually checks received, maybe adding a 0 mentally and feeling grateful for the service the bill represents.
Yeah, shifting the feeling around money. Laura Langmeyer talks about changing that deep-seated belief that I have to work hard for money.
Replace it with,
Money comes easily and frequently. And consciously practice saying, I can afford that. When you see things you desire, even if you don't buy them right then, it retrains your brain to feel abundant rather than deprived.
and finally, the principle of giving.
Giving money, giving resources, giving time when done joyfully sends the signal, I have plenty. I have more than enough. And the law dictates that more must flow back to you. But it has to be genuine giving.
Not sacrifice.
Exactly. Sacrifice comes from a feeling of lack. I don't really have enough, but I have to give this. That feels bad, breeds resentment, and sends out a frequency of lack, blocking abundance. Giving feels good. Sacrifice feels painful.
Let's move into some advanced areas, like health. The sources are pretty radical here, claiming the mind is the primary factor in health and healing.
Dr. John DeMartini really emphasizes this. The mind's power is central. The classic example they always point to is the placebo effect.
Right, someone believes a sugar pill is a powerful drug and they actually get better.
That, according to the sources, is the law of attraction in action. The unwavering belief is the frequency, the signal. And the body, which they see as responding to the mind, creates the healing.
And conversely, negative thinking causes illness.
Dr. Ben Johnson links stress directly to illness and defines stress as basically the physical result of persistent negative thinking. Dr. DeMartini even suggests that disease is the body's way of giving feedback, saying, hey, your perspective is out of balance. You need more love and gratitude in your thinking.
That's a challenging perspective on illness, but they back it up with some incredible stories.
Yeah, the healing stories are central to their argument. Kathy Goodman's story about healing from breast cancer.
In just 3 months, focusing on gratitude, faith, and laughter inspired by Norman Cousins. No conventional treatment, according to the source.
It highlights the power of focusing on the feeling of being well. And then there's Morris Goodman, the miracle man.
The plane crash survivor, completely paralyzed, told he'd be a vegetable.
But he refused to accept it. His only focus, day in and day out, was visualizing himself walking out of that hospital. And he did it. It's presented as irrefutable proof of the mind's power over the body.
So the underlying idea is that the body is constantly renewing itself.
Billions of cells replacing themselves all the time. So illness or degeneration, they argue, can only persist if it's held in place by our thoughts, by constantly observing it, giving it attention.
So the instruction is, think perfection. Focus on feeling wonderful, on being whole and healthy, regardless of current symptoms.
Right. And this extends even to aging. They claim aging is largely a belief system we've bought into. Since the body is always new, the physical decline we associate with age is just the result of thinking thoughts of limitation, like expecting eyesight to worsen.
The author even shared a personal story about restoring their own eyesight quickly by consciously rejecting that belief.
It all comes back to the power of dominant thought, which leads naturally into visualization.
Which isn't just idle daydreaming, right?
Yeah.
It's more focused.
Much more focused. It's described as powerfully focused thought, specifically using pictures in your mind to generate the thoughts and, crucially, the feelings of already having what you desire right now.
And there's scientific backing for the mind-body connection here.
Dr. Dennis Waitley's work with Olympic athletes is often cited. They practice their events purely in their minds. Visual motor rehearsal.
And brain scans showed?
The same muscles were firing in the same sequences as if they were actually performing the event physically. The conclusion drawn is that the mind can't really distinguish between vividly imagined action and real action.
So if you've been there in the mind, you'll go there in the body.
That's the principle. And Mike Dooley adds a key technique. When you visualize, focus only on the end result, the feeling of accomplishment.
Don't visualize the struggle, the difficult steps.
No. Feel yourself holding the award, driving the new car, living the dream house. Focus on the finished picture, the feeling of having it now.
Like John Assaraf with his vision board, cutting out pictures of his dream home.
Putting it away, forgetting about it for years. Then 5 years later, he buys a house, renovates it, and his son finds the old vision board in a box.
And it's the exact same house from the pictures he'd cut out years before. He hadn't consciously remembered it.
It perfectly illustrates how the universe, or your subconscious, works non-linearly to arrange the how once the what is clearly imprinted with feeling.
Okay, this brings us to the really big picture stuff, the ultimate power, the nature of the universe itself.
Right. They often reference quantum physics here, saying everything is fundamentally energy, vibrating at different frequencies. When you focus your thought on what you want, you cause the energy of that thing to vibrate and move towards you.
And the universe itself is described as what? The one universal mind.
Yes. A single, infinite intelligence that contains all knowledge, all potential, all perfection. This implies that every possible invention, discovery, or solution already exists as a possibility within this mind.
Waiting for a human mind to tune into it and draw it forth.
Exactly. It eliminates any concept of limitation or scarcity at the source level. There's always more.
And this leads to that core spiritual idea: we are one.
Because if everything is part of this one mind, this one energy field, then we are all fundamentally connected,
Yeah.
which has huge implications.
Like negative thoughts about others hurting yourself.
Yes, because you're putting negativity into the very field you exist within. It has to come back to you. It makes kindness and compassion vibrational necessities for your own well-being.
And it completely reframes competition.
Competition, in this view, comes from a mindset of lack, believing there isn't enough to go around. By competing, you attract more struggle and competition. The alternative is to become a purely creative mind.
Focusing only on your own dreams, your own connection to the one mind, and allowing others to do the same.
Precisely, because there's infinite supply. You're only ever competing against your own limiting beliefs.
This really elevates the power of the words we use about ourselves, especially I am.
Hugely powerful, because whatever follows I am is a command, a creation. I'm not good enough. I'm always tired. I'm broke. These are seen as powerful negative affirmations creating that reality.
So the advice is to consciously use positive I am statements.
Yes, comprehensive ones, like that quote from Charles Hannell. I am whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy, claiming your inherent connection to the perfection of the one mind.
The ultimate message seems to be that we are fundamentally powerful spiritual beings, God in a physical body, as some sources put it, capable of creating our reality by choosing our thoughts.
It suggests we can break free from past conditioning, family patterns, societal limitations, simply by taking conscious control of our focus right here, right now. #outro.
Wow, we've certainly covered a lot of ground today. It's a system that really asks you to rethink everything about how reality works. So just to recap the essentials.
At its core, you are a creator. Your thoughts literally become things. The key is managing your frequency, and the shortcut to that is your feelings, especially aiming for joy, love, and gratitude.
And you use the 3 steps. Ask with clarity, believe with unwavering faith, acting as if it's already done, and then receive by feeling good now.
The fundamental message is one of immense personal power, isn't it? You're the designer or the author of your life story. Your main job is really just you, tending to your own inner state, your own joy.
Because when you fill yourself up first.
The good stuff naturally overflows into your life and the lives of others. The law guarantees it.
Which brings us to that final, quite provocative thought from Neil Donald Walsh about purpose. He challenges the whole idea that we're here for some grand, predefined mission.
Right, he says there's no blackboard in the sky with your name and assignment on it. Your actual primary purpose, according to this perspective,
Is simply to feel and experience joy.
joy is the fuel. Joy is the highest frequency. Joy attracts more joy.
So if there's one single thing to take away and do right now, it's feel good.
Feel good now. Find a way, anyway, to feel good right now.
It's a powerful idea that you are unlimited, magnificent, and that what you do with this knowledge, this potential power, well, that's entirely up to you.